Guess how many characters I wrote? 0. As long as you can tell the difference from ma and ma, you can tell it. This is a person's body. What the heck is this part supposed to be? Hey guys, want to learn Chinese as a beginner? Today I'm gonna tell you about 1 truth, 2 challenges, and 3 hints. Hope the 3 hints gonna help you to conquer the 2 challenges. So the first 1 truth. Is Chinese hard to learn? That's a question everyone gonna ask before they even start it. Well, I would say for zero beginner, this question's answer is 75% false, 25% true. Why? For any language, we can break it down into 4 parts. 听, 说, 读, and 写. So the 25% challenging part is the written part, the written language of Chinese. It is very tough. But why the other 3 parts are not tough? There are many things that you have to learn for most of the Latin languages, but you do not have to worry about them when you learn Chinese. First, if you learn 1 Chinese verb, that's it. There's no tense, no conjugation. If I say 我做了, I do it, it will be 做 forever. It will be 做 if you did it 5,000 years ago. It will be 做 if you are going to do it 5,000 years later. It will be 做 if you did it yesterday. It will be 做 if you're doing it right now. So there is no do, did, done, have been doing. It's always just 做. So you learn the 1 character, you learn it forever, timelessly. And second, you don't have to change a lot of sentence order, the word order in the sentences. There is no such thing as complicated grammar in Chinese. It's always subject, verb, object. It's question, it's statement, it's always like that. If I'm talking about 你是我的朋友, you are my friend, that's a statement. If I'm saying 你是我的朋友吗? Are you my friend? So you keep the exactly same word, just adding a little particle ma at the end, change it to question. So that's really not that challenging. And the third one, because Chinese is a character and it's monosyllabic, you really do not need to learn a lot of them. How many characters will help you to understand the 70 to 80% of the daily readings? 900 to 1,000 high-frequency Chinese characters. Of course, if you want to reach 80% and up, for example, 90%, probably you're gonna need 2,000. If you want to reach about 97%, you probably need to know 3,000. If 99, probably up to 4,000. But come on, who want to learn 99% when they learn a language, right? 70% is okay, 80% is great. So you're not aiming to learn the 40 to 50,000 characters on the dictionary from Kangxi period. You're just trying to learn up to 2,000 to 3,000 at all. If you just want to be a cool tourist and know everything on the road sign, just learn 1,000. That's really not much. So not a lot of characters, no conjugations, simple grammars. That's a 75% of the easy part. So let's talk about the hard part, which is the characters. Why the characters are so challenging to write? Because every character is a picture. But that also explains one thing, is that if it's a picture, you can always interpret it as your own way, right? For example, there are many simple characters, we call them radicals, and you're building blocks with them to learn more complicated characters. We can do one thing is very simple, right? If this is a wood, and 2 wood will be a forest, and 3 wood will be a big forest. And this is my interpretation and my ancestors' interpretation. And for example, if this is a knife, dao, and you are pointing at this part, which is the blade of the dao. See? That's very simple when you start learning. Of course, they're more complicated, more abstracted, but if you start here, it will make you think it's not that hard to learn. And second is for example, you have a character like so. And the great thing is that you really do not need to follow my ancestors' way to learn it, right? You don't have to figure out a new book and think about, oh, what's the original story of this character? No, you have your own way. And your own way is the most efficient and effective way. For example, when I taught my students this, I'm just telling them this is like a walking person. And they start to question, if this is a leg, this is a person's body, what the heck is this part supposed to be? I was saying, I don't know. You tell me, right? If you think this part is a sword, cool, that it be a sword. If it's just a stem or it's anything, it's your call. It's your character, as long as you learn it that way. So that's one of the challenges of the tool. The other one is the tones, right? Everyone thinks the Chinese tones are unbelievable and impossible to learn. Well, it is very challenging, but also it's very simple. For Mandarin Chinese, there are only 4 tones. Well, someone consider 5 because there's a neutral tone. But the 4 tones that 1.4 billion people can learn, you can learn it. Regardless if you are good at music, you're tone deaf, or you're playing pianos, instruments, it doesn't really matter. As long as you can tell the difference from ma and ma and ma, you can tell it. It's not about the pitch, it's about the trend of something going up and going down. And when we say 4 tones, it's actually just 3 of them. One is flat, one is going up, one is going down. Then the other one is a combine of the down and up. That's it. So let me give you 3 hints about learning Chinese when you start. First, listening rules. Listening is everything, because someone may argue, no, I want to speak. Yes, speaking a foreign language, especially like Chinese, has tones and has totally different system. Listening is the king, because when you said, oh, I cannot say that, I cannot pronounce the right way. Yes, you can, but the thing that prevents you from doing that is you are not hearing the difference. You're not hearing the sound correctly. If you can hear the difference, you can say that. You can mimic it. So as a beginner, I highly recommend it. Put a lot of effort into listening. Try to listen on many apps or any website, for example, Duolingo, Quizlet. They all have the pinyin practice to help you train your ears until you can clearly tell the different tones. Then you start to learn more. So the tones are the king, are the beginner's most useful treasure. Train your ears before everything. And second, when you are learning the speaking part, make sure you don't spend too much time on just speaking. When I say 你好, someone say, okay, focus on the pronunciation of 你 and 好. That's right. But people have different learning profiles. Someone learn by looking at it. Someone learn by speaking it. Someone learn by writing it. I've had students who just stare at the vocab list and for half an hour they memorize every single thing. But one thing always keeps true is that regardless what kind of learning person you are, it's always better to have stimulation from multi-dimensions. What's that supposed to mean? When you said, okay, I'm going to practice writing this. When you are writing, please do not just writing. When you are writing, please writing, thinking the meaning, looking at the structure and hearing them. For example, if you're writing 好, you always do that, writing 好, this is a new radical that's in your mind, and this is a 子 radical, so daughter and the son together is a good family. Those are in your mind, but when you're actually reading, while thinking that in your mind, also do this. 好, stare at the character and thinking about that, the meaning, the structure. And if you're learning more, thinking about how to combine a sentence or phrase using 好, that's more efficient than just writing or reading or looking at them, okay? Because you're having a 3-dimension learning. And the third hint is that do not worry about writing. Why? Time has changed. 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, I always encourage that my students practice a lot of writing because literacy is really important. But today, I've been in China every summer for the past 10 years. I was there 2.5 months this summer. Guess how many characters I wrote? 0. Everything was on computer, everything was on the cell phone, everything was on digital form. No one really need to write anything, even for your signature. Well, who cares you wrote for the signature, right? Even you don't know how to write it, you just write BS, people will take it. So the only thing really matters for today's learner of a language is just reading, speaking, and listening. And I guess most of you will just focus on the listening and speaking. And seriously, if you're just traveling to China or not doing some serious business just by yourself without an interpreter, I really don't think you need to do a lot of writing. Because seriously, when you are touring China, everything that you can see on the road signs has pinyin on it. Even you cannot read it perfectly, you can still understand many of things. Of course, I still highly encourage you know how to read them because that's give you the ownership of the learning. Okay, 3 hints. First, listening is a king. Second, learn it by 3 dimensions: listening, speaking, and thinking, not just writing, okay? And third one, writing is not important. I will go in depth of each one later in the future videos, but let me know if you need to know anything about learning Chinese or something that you want to learn how to speak in Chinese, okay? So follow me and learn some 牛逼 Chinese. Bye for now. 再见.